Hello and welcome into the Seth Justice Show. Really do appreciate you stopping by and doing this on a Monday. I know we talked about that before, and I think this is the day that I'm going to do it. And yeah, I don't know. My face kind of looks chubby today. I don't know. Maybe it's just the angle. Maybe I need to have it up here. I don't but either way, welcome in. Really do appreciate you. Remember to like, subscribe, follow at Justice underscore radio on Instagram and TikTok, and the Said Justice Show. Um, yeah, yeah. I've been sick the past week, and it's absolutely driven me nuts. Like I can't stand being sick. It is just the absolute worst. And I'm not like sick right now. I may sound a little bit stuffy, but I'm not like sick. It's more like everything's draining. And it is draining because it's just like wow. I don't like it. I don't like it not one bit. But I also don't like being sick. And I also don't like my hair being all crazy. I know audio only, you won't see the hair, but it's too much right now. I need a haircut. It's just like it's so annoying. Plus I think I want to get something different. I've had like the middle part longer hair, and like, I think it's time for a change. I don't know what to. I don't know. It's weird. But anyway, welcome into the show. As I try and understand the brain that is needing to be overstimulated constantly. Uh, yeah, my brain always needs that stimulation, and it's just like from my phone to TV to work to whatever. The fact that I need so much stimulation is kind of crazy. I guess I'm a dopamine addict, but um, I'm not the only one who's addicted. Tiger Woods, there's issues with him that we'll talk about here in just a little bit. I also want to talk some anime stuff because I love anime and I want to get talking more about that stuff. So we'll do that a little bit. MGK and Megan Fox is going through it right now. And then maybe some other stuff. Uh, maybe a one thing that's a little deep, but it's just like I don't really quite understand. So anyway, let's get to it. I want to start things off with Megan Fox and MGK. Apparently, Megan Fox has now blocked MGK on social media, which kind of makes co-parenting a little tough. Kind of does. Kind of makes it seem like you don't want to co-parent. But I'm sure there's reasons as to why. I don't know any of those reasons. And I don't know, like, what you plan on doing. Um, but yeah, I don't know. It's just a strange thing, and it's sad because they do have children together and everything like that. But it's just like, what? What in the world? So I just hope everything in that situation is good. You know, that's the hope, at least, that everything is fine and the kid still has both of his parents or her parents and is able to, get everything done. But yeah, MGK, Megan Fox, and they're just two strange people. Like they had each other's blood and probably other DNA samples of each other. I mean, could you imagine what they did behind closed doors while they were together? Like not only just drinking each other's blood and or like I don't know what other vampire craziness they were into. I really don't. But I mean, could you imagine like what if they just decided to rip out each other's teeth and then trade them with the other person? Like, hey, we both have veneers. Let's go, huh, huh, and then put ooh, ooh. It's just like that's so gross. Oh, like, could you imagine? I mean, that's just the thought of like two people who are eccentric. I think we can all agree they're eccentric. But if they like took out their veneers and switched them with each other, that'd be so gross. Well, like, what else could they have done? I mean, we know they swap saliva, but most couples do that. And no, don't want to get in the other fluids. No, that's just gross and disgusting. But anyway, so their co-parenting situation is not very good. So let's hope the social media aspect is a little bit different than that. But then again, when your ex comments on a picture of you on Instagram being all sexy, and you're just like, ew, that probably didn't help because, you know, Megan Fox came back to Instagram, took some sexy pics, and the first comment was MGK, which is kind of tough. Kind of tough. Just like you want to move on, but then your ex is right there. So I don't know. Weird situation. Um, but yeah, yeah. And I think right now, another weird situation is this guy who is, it's hard to describe, right? So he has lost his arms, lost his legs, and it's pretty much just a body and a head. Like that's all he is. And he's a professional cornhole player. Somehow, knowing all this, he has unalived somebody with a firearm. Now, I really don't know how that's even possible. I don't. I don't know if he has specially made, you know, pew pews. I don't know. But either way, it's like if I imagine myself of any kind of, loss of limb, I'd be rather irritated. But I think my overly optimistic outlook on life also kind of rings overly a lot. The fact that, I'm a very positive and outgoing individual. I feel like I would find the bright side to it. My light would be a little dimmer. But to be missing all four of your limbs, right? Your arms and legs, there's probably a little depression there. Some mental health woes. I don't know his backstory or anything like that. I honestly don't even know his name, other than he's a professional cornhole player, which that even sounds weird. I mean, but once you see like how he throws the cornhole bag, you're like, all right, that kind of makes sense. I mean, this guy is just kind of an anomaly where he's a professional athlete. We'll call cornhole an athletic venture. That was kind of condescending. Either way, doesn't matter. But he's an athlete, and I guess a pretty good one. But then apparently he's a gun nut, and also is just like, you know what? Let me do this, and has apparently a bunch of guns. Has went shooting for quite a bit, and then decided to unalive somebody, and it's just like, man, that's just tough. You don't really know how to react, but my main question is, how did he do it? I still don't understand how you can shoot a gun without any fingers, without any arms, I guess. And he doesn't even have any prosthetics. Like, if it wasn't so messed up, it'd be kind of impressive. And that sounds so strange and so awful to say. But like, how in the world is he able to do this without, again, arms, legs, or fingers? Like, in his situation, I would be like, you know what? I'm going to get some prosthetic legs. I'm going to get some prosthetic arms. It may not be 100% the same. It may be just for, appearance sake, but I'm a vain MFer, man. That's what I am. I am vain, and I would want arms and legs. I wouldn't want to scoot around and all that stuff. But that's me. That's not him. And apparently, now since he's unalived somebody, he's in jail. He's not asking for any help. But and this is gonna be a messed up joke. So sorry, but I mean he is not gonna be left alone. I mean, being able to defend yourself in jail is an often regarded thing where it's just like, you know what? Probably should know how to fight, probably should know what to do when you're in jail. And this guy, I don't think defending himself is his, you know, I don't think it's not going to be an easy thing for him, um, unless you know headbutt to the balls. That that's pretty much it. And he's also going to have to be on the bottom bunk because if he's asking for no help, top bunk isn't necessarily ideal. So, oh yeah, I don't know, man. If it wasn't so messed up, it'd be impressive. That's pretty much all it is. And the fact that like I want to see him shoot. I want to see how he shoots guns. 'Cause apparently there's videos out there that I haven't seen, but uh, I would say outside of making fun of the situation, uh, I really hope the family gets the justice that they deserve. And I'm not saying that just because my last name is Justice. I mean, honestly, for someone to take the life of somebody else is really, really messed up. It's inhuman, actually, even though it seems like like what a normal human being would do, since there's so much conflict and strife out in this world right now, and a lot of issues. Um, but it's not the human thing to do. It's not. It's not. You know. So hopefully they get the justice that you know they deserve for their fallen family member. Um, yeah. So there's that. Um, yeah, just two just weird celebrity stories. And I guess now, I mean, is a great time. I don't know. I still look at my hair, right? In this situation where I'm just like, I don't like it. And it's because, I'm doing the video thing and, I'm looking at it and I'm just like, golly. And maybe I'm just being super hyper today. Um, But yeah, I don't know. It's driving me nuts. And I'm also thinking about the layout of my podcast because and I think that's why I was so inconsistent earlier in the year is because I don't necessarily like, this up close kind of thing. I want it more like a show kind of deal. And obviously, there's things that I can do right in this moment in time, and there's things that I cannot do. And I don't have, a studio of my own. I don't have cameras of my own that I can use. And so that I think that's what's driving me absolutely bonkers with this, and why I keep on fidgeting with my hair because I look at it and I see the situation, and I'm just like, "Arrgh! I want it different." And I think a lot of people feel that way about their own lives. Um, as I'm trying to keep I'm literally trying to balance my freaking laptop on my knee so I can get, an angle. Um, but yeah, I don't know, man. It's just, I think that's what's irritating me the most about the situation. Like, I have a microphone, as you can see, it lights up. It's nice and cool. And then it goes from that color to another color to another color. And I like that. I like that microphone. Um, and I like my laptop. It now it's just the surrounding areas of trying to find, you know, cameras and doing different odds and ends to make it better. So maybe that's, and I just had this thought too, and I was just like, golly, I don't know, I just need that like little, the little, I don't know, but anyway, that little, was it tangent? What is tangent? I know it's tangent, but there's another tangential. I don't know, interlude. Just talking about anime. Um, so I think this latest so if you're not a big fan of anime, you don't know, but it's like most TV where they go have seasons. There's the spring season that we're going into that kind of starts first week of April. And then there's the summer season, which is about 8 to 12 weeks after. So that would be Was it May, June, July-ish time is the next round of new anime shows coming out. That's what I should say. Like, so this spring season is gonna have a bunch of new anime coming out that the winter season is ending, and so they need something to fill it, and so it's new anime shows. And then the summer will have new, then the fall, then another winter, then another winter. Um, it's like the holiday season and then winter. I don't know how they call it. Anyway, but I want to say this past I wanted to talk about specifically um Sends to be a Hero, uh My Hero Academia Vigilantes, Jujutsu Kaisen, and do I want to talk about any others? No, but I do want to talk about one coming up. So I would say this latest season had the most top to bottom, like really good anime shows. And if you want to watch an anime show that's just so good, Sends to be a Hero is right up there. It's got the fighting, it's got the supernatural, it's got a lot, and it's got a really good story along with it. Also a messed up story, which I truly love. I love a good, like crooked, weird, dark story. But if you haven't watched it, it's the main character is Xylo Forbarts, and he was sentenced to be a hero. And in this time frame, heroes are actually high criminals that they don't get the death penalty. They don't get they're so far above what they've done is so heinous and evil. I say this quote unquote evil that they have to become heroes and fight fairies and or demon blights, which are the main villains, we'll call them. Um, and so these heroes are sentenced to, and they can never die. Well, they can die, but they're brought right back to life. And how this like goes weaves in and out, and so how the story is told is just so good because kind of an underlying thing that they say throughout the entire series is that every time somebody dies in this anime or in this show, each time they die, they lose their memories. Like some memories they just lose, and some part of their humanity they lose, and they show it with one of the characters, Tetsuya, where he is just a machine with an axe. He's just a killing machine. Go vroom, 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 and just like he can't talk. He's lost his humanity. He's almost like a zombie, and you can see that, and you can see the difference and the change and the comparison between him and Xylo, him and all these other different characters who are heroes. Because there's like I think eight now, eight, eight or I think I don't know, but it is such a good show, and I would highly recommend it. Um, recommend to watch because it goes up, down, stays like the first episode is probably one of the best first episode of any anime that I've seen, and it started so hot. And somebody said this on their podcast, the was it Otaku's Only? Um, so they said that it is a consistent 7.1 to 8.1 out of 10 each and every single episode, which if you like watch shows and know how ratings work, that is a ridiculous stat. It is ridiculous how a show can be that good. So 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10 each and every single episode without one falling down to a 4 or a 5 or a 3 is pretty ridiculous. But I absolutely love that show, and it is so good. I do feel like the last episode was rushed a little bit. Um, because now like in the United States now, it's like a lot of people are only doing like 8 episodes, 8 to 12 um, episodes for their show, and so they're just like, oh, we can't. Even though we could have used one more episode, we're gonna just mush all this together into one. And so I can see how this one was like a little goofy, but also just like rushing to the end. And that one kind of irritated me. Like, you don't need to rush it. I wish people would just like not have deadlines on shit and just do like their thing, you know, where they do however many episodes they can. Doesn't necessarily matter as long as you get the content out. Because I think more the purity of it is I'd rather have a good story than like it being a bureaucratic masterpiece, right? And I think that's everybody in the world right now. I mean, I think we're just too far into the weeds of it's got to fit within this category here, or it's got to fit in between these lines. Like it's almost like a coloring book of where you're just like, oh, I gotta make sure I color within the lines of the picture. It's like, no, color outside the lines. You're artists. That's what you do. And I don't know, like I hope and I wish that we kind of get out of this weird system that we're in right now with TV and creativity. So it feels like people are trying to control it, and those people trying to control it are not the creative ones. So there's that. Also, another show I want to talk about is My Hero Academia Vigilantes. If you watch the first My Hero Academia, this is like the uh, prologue or prequel to it, except it doesn't really focus on any of the characters outside of the already pre-established main superheroes. Um, and then the three main characters are Pop, uh, Crawler, or Koichi, and then Knuckle Duster, who's actually a former hero, but there's some things about his life that are interesting. And he wasn't seen at all in this latest season. And Vigilantes to me is so so. Sometimes it can be very hokey and, not very like dark. Like I said, I like dark anime. I like, stories that have depth and character depth and not just like, oh, I'm just, this character and I'm fat. And then when I use my powers, I get skinny. It's like, okay, yeah, that's fine. But sometimes it can be too hokey, and that's where it kind of like turns me off. Vigilantes does it a little bit better. I think it's because it's established. I don't even know if it like the show is established based off My Hero Academia, and it's good. It's not my favorite by any means, but if you like My Hero Academia, you're gonna like Vigilantes. Obviously, it's about three vigilantes who aren't necessarily heroes, and if you don't know My Hero Academia, then you can look it up and all that fun stuff. And yeah, and it's just kooky sometimes. But this last episode, it was Deus Ex Machina, which I mean, if you know the phrase and you know what is coming, and that's that All Might, who is the all powerful being at this time, comes in and saves the day with like literally ease. And then the bad guy's like, well, he's not expecting this. And then one punch saves the day again. And it's just like, it's that hokiness. It's almost like Superman, right? Where it's almost like too easy for him. And then Superman has to dumb down his powers because he wants a challenge or something like that. And it's just like, that's the hokiness that it gets weird. But then with Knuckle Duster, who makes his first appearance in such a long time in this season, um, comes in and starts fighting this other guy, and if you haven't watched the show, I'm not going to spoil it because there's some massive spoilers I could do. But that fight is what I'm talking about. It's not hokey. It's not weird. It's not like over the top. There's some darkness, but it's just good. And I think My Hero Academia Vigilantes is just it's solid. Yes, is it overly hokey in some instances? Absolutely. But it's also just a good show. Good show. I enjoy it. Um, and then lastly, probably the best fights of the entire season, like the winter into spring anime, was from Jujutsu Kaisen. And that last episode was just some epic, epic fights. Holy guacamole, Batman. And I think it's funny. Can you see what? Yeah. Anyway, doesn't matter. Um, I don't know. Like it was such a good fight, and Yuta is at the center of it. If you know Jujutsu Kaisen, you know Yuta. Oh, so good. Is he OP? Sure, but unlike My Hero Academia, Vigilantes, and All Might, he gets beaten up a little bit, and you do know the limitations of his powers. In All Might, there are limitations to his powers too, but it's again more hokey. Um, this is just storytelling, and it's dark. Yes, absolutely, 100% get it. But they're in the middle of the culling games, and culling games, 1 plus 1 equals lots of death in that one. But it is so good. And Jujutsu Kaisen as a whole in this latest season of the show is just so good. And if you were like a JJK hater for the longest time, I don't understand it because the animation is ridiculous this season. The story is fantastic and how they put together all the things. I can understand the Maki fights that you're just like, well, they missed certain things. Who cares? Visually, it is a masterpiece. And also they make it make sense with the story. So I think it's a win-win. But that last fight, and honestly, the last four-ish episodes have probably been the best episodes of the show. Maybe not. Maybe that's a bit of a hyperbole there, Seth. But either way, it was so good, and I enjoyed Jujutsu Kaisen so much, and Yuta is just so cool. And it's so funny too. They bring him in maybe one or two, maybe three episodes this season, and then he comes in at the very last episode and just goes, "I'm that dude." Oh, it is just so good. And I just love it. I love the show. It is my kind of thing. And like I said previously, I really do. And yeah, I don't know. It's just it makes me happy. So hopefully my anime spiel there, you're just like, okay, those sound cool. Let me check them out. And if you have, or if you watch them, leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think about them. And also, if you have never watched anime and want some recommendations, let me just say this first off: Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. Brotherhood has to be there. I would definitely recommend that one first. And then I would say Sentence to be a Hero. I think that's a really good one. And Jujutsu Kaisen is another great one to watch. Demon Slayer, Bleach, of course, One Piece, which One Piece is coming out with brand new season two after, was it 1999 to 2025 or, yeah, 2026 or something like that was the first season, which is over 1,000 plus episodes. And now they're starting season two of One Piece, and that's coming up next week. Yeah, or this upcoming weekend. I'm very excited about that. But One Piece, Bleach, very long animes, very long. So I understand if you don't watch those, but I would highly recommend you watch Bleach and One Piece, some of my favorite anime of all time. Which One Piece is also hokey, but over time it gets better and less hokey. I mean, still, I like some like comedy, but I want it mixed in with good storytelling. So there's that. And last thing before we go here, Tiger Woods is again in trouble for his drinking and driving. He had a rollover crash where nobody got hurt, nobody got, unalived. Uh, but, he was got arrested for drinking and driving, which is, it feels like once every 10 years he has to have a shirt that says, "Hey, here's my mugshot, and now you see me drink and drive again. So we got to have a T-shirt that shows off." And it's just like, golly, man. And he says that he doesn't want his own driver because he wants privacy. And it's just like, yeah, I can understand that you want to be self-sufficient. You want to be in control of your own life. You don't want people, whatever. But you just had a rollover crash, bro. You obviously have some substance abuse issues when it comes to alcohol, when it comes to, different odds and ends. You'd think with your billions of dollars that you obviously do have, a driver is not the worst thing in the world, especially when you could crash and you could kill somebody. So maybe, bud, maybe Tiger, maybe we do something not to cause a lot of harm and mischief in the world because there's plenty of that. You going and drinking and driving and causing an accident, which then hurts somebody, I feel like you would be, or maybe not, maybe you wouldn't even care, but you would be in jail and you could go to jail for manslaughter, vehicular manslaughter, in which case people like you, Tiger. Just gonna say that. I don't know if people would be all touchy feely, but it's just like, bro, you got to maybe think about getting a driver. Or at the very least, Uber. Uber around. Yes, is it expensive? It's a lot cheaper than having a private driver. Like, come on, bro. Like, I I like driving as much as the next person, and I would want to keep my freedom too. But freedom doesn't mean you drink and drive, have a rollover crash, and then, you know, get to keep on driving. No, that means you're a danger to yourself. You can drive however or how often you want when you're sober, but when you're drunk, let's maybe think about at least calling an Uber. At the very least, and maybe you don't want people to, know that you're there, then call a friend. If you don't have any friends, maybe a relationship, your girlfriend, whatever. Maybe an ex, which that might be awkward, but it's better that they come get you and yell at you than, you rolling over your freaking car, you moron. And yes, Tiger, I'm calling you a moron. Will you actually listen to this podcast? No. But still, the stupidity of it all. And I don't know, like, listen, I'm no saint in this certain field, but I also understand where I've gone wrong in my life. And I'm not going to put myself in the situation now or even within the past couple of years to like put myself in a situation where I could hurt myself, but also not just myself, other people, because it is just not us riding solo in this world, even though some people wish it was the case. We're not. We're not doing that. So, Tiger, think before you act. Call the Uber. Or maybe you're watching this and you drink and drive. Call the Uber. I know it's expensive. There's surge pricing. Sure, you got me there. But at least do the smart thing and maybe call somebody. I mean, we all can't afford a private driver like Tiger Woods, but still, you can do things to not drink and drive and then have a rollover crash and then possibly hurt, maim, and or unalive somebody. So maybe let's think about that. And with that being said, this has been the Sad Justice Show. Thank you so much for listening and or watching, depending on where you're doing that from. Um, and make sure you like, subscribe, follow, help me build this platform because obviously I wasn't doing a very good job on my end of doing it. So we're going to work towards that. At Justice underscore radio on Instagram and TikTok, and then YouTube and Spotify, The Seth Justice Show. So thank you again so much for listening and watching. We'll talk next week. Have a great rest of your Monday and also have a great rest of your week. So, bye.